Hey folks, it's your boy Adlatag here with another episode of DCS Film-Makers School. So after the last episode, I had a couple people reach out to me and they were like, hey Adler, can you start getting into showing us camera controls and how to manipulate the cameras to get shots, for our videos and stuff. So because it's such an in-depth topic, basically cinematography, and because DCS has quite a bit of camera controls and modifiers and alternate control keybinds and stuff like that, I decided to break it up into like little shorter segments, focusing on using a specific camera or a specific view, and how to manipulate that to get shots. So we can think of it as a sort of like a sub-series within the DCS Filmmaker series. So we'll call it DCS Filmmakers Cinematography series, and so we'll cover like setting up the cameras and so on and so forth. So with that out of the way, one of the very first things we have to do is we have to solve an issue that comes stock with DCS, and that is they limit how low you can actually get a camera. And I know some of you may be aware of it, but there is a way to get around this. I refer to it as the Server.Lua fix. And I'll show you how to do that right now. So this way you'll be able to get your camera actually at ground level, looking up at an aircraft as it taxis by or something like that. And in real world filmmaking, one of the things you always know is that if you have an angle of view looking up at something, you impart more importance, it's more intimidating, and it gives you a better sense of realism, particularly in DCS, because we're dealing with what amounts to a flight sim. You want to sort of get that realistic perspective whenever you can. So without me just rambling on, I'm going to go into it right now. I'll show you how to do the Server.Lua fix, and then I will show you some shots, the types of shots you can get once you've set this up. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in DCS, and right out of the gate, DCS being stock, no changes made. What you'll notice is in the F2 view, which is the view I'm in now, so there's your F1 view in cockpit, F2 view, which is just your external view. What you can see is I can move, using my mouse, I can move the camera around, no big deal. But I can't get below this point. This is the lowest the camera will go. I can zoom in and out. You can do everything that you would normally expect to do, but you can't do this. And there's a reason for that. That's built into DCS. So what we have to do is we have to make one change. So let me show you what change you need to make and how to do it. And then that will give us the freedom to sort of place our camera anywhere. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to our Eagle Dynamics DCS installation folder. And this is the main folder where the game is installed. So as you can see on my computer, it's on my E drive. I have a dedicated SSD drive for it. So we're going to go into our Eagle Dynamics folder, then the subfolder for DCS, and then the subfolder for config, and then the subfolder for view. And you're going to see this file. It says server, it's a Lua file, okay? We're not going to change anything here, and this is very important. Do not change anything here. If you do, you will fail integrity checks when you start up DCS. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on this and we are going to copy it. So we're going to copy that server file. Okay, so with that copied file, we are then going to go into our saved games folder. Okay, on my computer, this is the C drive, but we're going to go into the saved games folder, DCS open beta, config, view, and we're going to paste that server file, the one that we copied from the main installation. We're going to paste that into our saved games folder, save games, DCS open beta, config, view. Paste it right in there. Okay, this is where we're going to make our changes. Then what you're going to do, you can use whatever program you want to open it, Notepad, Notepad++, or any pretty much any text editing program. I use Notepad++. What you can do is double click to open that file there, and you're going to look for line number 6. Okay, line number 6 says camera terrain restrictions. By default, that is set to true. Okay, and that's what was preventing our camera from getting any lower than about average human height. Okay, so what we do is we're just simply going to take this and we are just going to change this line. Oops. Change this line to false. Okay, that's it. Just changing that one line to false, and then remember to save your change. So hit save. Okay, and that's it. And this is done. We made that change on the one in our save game folders. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to stress, don't do it in your main game server file because you will fail integrity checks. Do it in the copy that's in your save games. Save games, DCS Open Beta, config, view, server file. That's where you make a change. Okay, now if we go back into DCS, we should no longer have that terrain limitation. In other words, DCS is no longer saying, hey, the ground's here, so the camera can only go this far. We've removed that from the equation, so now we can literally place our camera anywhere else. So let's hop back over to DCS. Okay, so now we're back in DCS and we are literally in the same mission that I had created, the template I created before. Again, our mouse still allows us to move anywhere we want, blah, 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 blah. But now that we've made that change to the copy of our server file in our saved games folder and we've removed that camera restriction, now we can get the camera nice and low. And obviously, you know, for aesthetic reasons, as a DCS filmmaker / cinematographer, you know, now you have more freedom. You can get these sort of, you know, low angle, you know, from the ground shots, you know, as opposed to being stuck to only this. You can now have something like this. It'll even allow you to put it underneath the ground, but, you know, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but so there you go. So that's the very first thing when it comes to quote unquote getting the shot. That's something you want to do. And just remember, the important part of that is you're not changing anything on the server file that's in your installation folders. What you're doing is you're copying that server file to your saved game, you know, DCS config view folder. You're placing it there, and that's where you're making your changes to remove this camera restriction. The way DCS is sort of coded, it checks your save game folders first, you know, for your settings and preferences and whatnot. But yeah, so that's how you can get that nice low angle shot. So okay, so I wanted to put together this montage to show how freeing up the camera to be able to be placed wherever you want, including on the ground, frees you up creatively to explore different options for shots and the different types of shots that you can get by just having a low camera angle. Everything that you're seeing, I had a couple of track files and I just, you know, went through, found some things that I thought looked interesting and just figured out, okay, well, if I put the camera here, that'll look cool. Nothing really special. I did do some color correction on this, so that's why it looks a little bit different than the other footage. But anyway, the point was, by having that low camera angle, you give all the objects a sense of scale, a sense of, I don't want to say depth, but relationship to their surroundings, that the usual static shots, the default shots generally tend to lack. And like I said, as you can see, it frees you up to be very creative. You can sort of tweak things to sort of fit the image you have of your film. So yeah, again, this montage was just done in about 10 minutes. Using a couple of track files and the ability to get that camera as low as I could. In this one, I'm using the Control F11 free camera, starting low, and as you can see, I got really interesting shot of that tomcat, and definitely get some interesting shot of these eagles. So yeah, anyway, just an example of why that's a thing. Why doing that Lua fix counts. Okay, so there we have it. That is the Server.Lua trick, or Server.Lua fix, if you will. I know a lot of people know it. It's not like anything special that I've discovered, but as with other videos, I wanted to lay the foundation. Once you have the ability to place that camera wherever you want, that's going to free up your creative vision to get the shots that you want, so that ultimately your DCS video looks the way you want. So that's why I wanted to do this one first. In upcoming episodes within this series about cinematography, I'll be talking about doing pan shots and dolly shots and tracking shots and whip pans, and etc., and all these terms that filmmakers like to throw around, which basically just means what you're pointing the camera at and how it's moving. So if any of this has been helpful, let me know. Please give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell for the notifications. It really helps me out, lets me know that I'm creating stuff that you guys want to see and want to learn. Also, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, I think that's going to do it for this one. The next one will be on dolly shot / tracking shot. Until then, this is your boy Adlatag. I will see you in the skies, and happy hunting.